Hey, it's the Mike Rogers Show. Mike Rogers here with you today. I have a very special guest. I think they've been let out of the zoo or out of their cages for just this interview. And I think you guys remember about 2 years ago, I used to play a band a lot called King Cornelius and the Silverbacks. They're an Australian rock band that is just, I can't even describe when I first heard it, how impressed I was. So won't you welcome Adrian McMillan and Jamie Perry. Hey, guys.
G'day.
Hey. So, yeah, when I first saw King Cornelius and the Silverbacks, and I don't think you guys sent me the song. I was just surfing the YouTube, and I found this, and I thought, this is so genius. This is such genius. And you guys might think like, oh, yeah, right. But I saw the first Devo concert, and they opened for Mink DeVille. Do you know Mink DeVille?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did that song Cadillac Walk. And Devo just blew him away. Nobody knew who they were or anything. And we were sitting down waiting for the concert to start. And all of a sudden from behind us, there was like some kind of commotion. And everybody looked back, and here were the Devo guys coming in to the auditorium from back behind the seats. And they were wearing their weird uniforms and stuff. And Mark Mothersbaugh was with the guitar walking down the alley. He was like, and people were so shocked. They were so shocked. And I just thought, this is such a good concept. And you guys are by far the best concept band I think that I have ever seen, because Devo was really good at first, but then they started doing different things and started getting off the concept. So
I love Devo.
Yeah, I love Devo too. And but later on their music was just, like I said, they lost the concept. So can you guys tell us about your band? Well, first introduce yourself. So why don't we start, Adrian, why don't you introduce yourself?
Yep, so my name's Ape Lincoln when it comes to band stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And
Ape Lincoln.
Ape Lincoln. We all have our stage names.
I see.
So I'm not, and we don't actually have credit on the. We don't have credit. If you read the back of the album, it's our. We get thanks. There's a thank you, Adrian, on there, but I'm not credited as actually playing on the album.
Is that because for personal safety reasons, or?
Yeah, potentially, yeah. But it's this guy Ape Lincoln that plays the drums in King Cornelius.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, when you mention personal safety, we actually have been threatened.
Oh, yeah, we have
with a cease and desist by King Cornelius in South Africa, who is trying to run a separate state, and yeah, he sent us a formal request to cease and desist.
You guys
using the name,
but you guys are the band King Cornelius and the Silverbacks. You guys are making fun of Planet of the Apes, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what we wanted to write back to this King Cornelius. Hadn't he ever heard of Planet of the Apes? I don't think he had.
Oh,
I think we just left it.
So when I was a little boy, and I'm a lot older than you guys, so I think I was like 8 or so. My mom and dad took my brothers and me to see Planet of the Apes, and man, did that scare the shit out of me. That scared me so much. We were sitting in the car, and I was just, I can't watch this. I can't watch it. And the guy in the car next to us, he was just laughing and laughing and laughing the whole time. And I remember thinking, like, what's he laughing about? This is terrible. So go ahead.
Yeah, well, whenever we go on tour, we have to watch Planet of the Apes to gear ourselves up for the gig that night.
Of course.
And we do have a Charlton Heston lookalike who is our go-go dancer at our gigs. So he and I fight before the show, and he comes on in chains and dances all throughout our set.
Is he in the video I Am Great Ape? You guys are playing
Yes.
at a bar.
Yeah.
Oh, good. So he's with you guys.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Oh, that's good, because I thought, okay, this guy's totally nuts.
Yes, well, he is.
So tell us about your band. Tell us what is King Cornelius and the Silverbacks, how the concept started, how the band started, and just everything, because I think a lot of people don't know. And when like 2 years ago or 3 years ago, when I was really playing it a lot, I was on regular Japanese FM radio.
Mhm.
But now I'm on the radio all over the world, on internet radio, on some big stations. So I think people need to know. They need to know the truth about King Cornelius and the Silverbacks. So why don't you guys fill us in?
Over to you, King.
Okay. Oh, well, yeah, because Mike, I am the King Cornelius, so I feel very naked.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
That's not a
I
real
know.
ape?
It's great actually wearing the mask, because no one knows who I am. So I can play the gig, and then after the show, no one has a clue who I am. So that's awesome. But we started off probably, I don't know, 7 or 8 years ago, when the guys who run the Wild Weekend and in Spain, and also the Luau in Melbourne, they had a night of the Bloody Apes at one of their shows here in Perth, in one of their venues, and they needed a monkey band as a prerequisite for that. And they knew that we loved monkey songs. I had a collection, huge collection of monkey songs, and we all loved monkey sort of stuff and Planet of the Apes. So that we just formed that night, I think, and we just played monkey covers. And then about 3 years
When you say
ago,
monkeys, are you talking about the rock band, the Monkeys?
Oh,
No.
no, we wouldn't play anything like that. But monkey songs from the 1920s through to the 60s, 70s, 80s, whatever.
Really?
So I got about 150 at least monkey songs that I just collect. So we had a huge collection that we could choose songs from. So we did the covers that night, and then we decided a few years later that we should write our own, because we were sick of listening to people's love songs, and we thought monkeys had more to offer. They've got a lot more love and feelings. They're a little bit boring, and it's all been done before, and monkeys have got such a story to tell, and we just do not run out of things to sing about monkeys. So and there's a lot of historical stuff, mythology. So,
well,
Adrian, is there anything you would like to add to that?
So yeah, that's pretty much it. You know, we were formed as a band for a one-off, but we got invited back to the same venue that Josh and Babs were running here in Perth to do it a bit more regularly. We had a bit of a hiatus, and then it must have been 5 or 6 years ago, Jamie, we were invited to Melbourne to play at our good friend Josh's birthday party. So at the start, we were only a 4-piece, but then we got our good friend Ricky, aka Ben Obo. We got him in, and he's a great songwriter. So once he got in, we really ramped up the songwriting, particularly with Jamie. And then that led to the first album coming out in 2018. And look, I just like to say, Mike, we really appreciate you playing us. It's blown us away that someone like you over in Japan has given us a good run, and we really appreciate that. So I just want to say thanks for that as well. And then, of course, through COVID, gigs dropped off. We've been lucky enough to be invited overseas. I mean, we played in Tokyo 2019, Jamie?
Yeah. You played, and I can't remember why I couldn't go. I probably had to work.
We sent you an invite.
I know.
I know you did.
To meet you there.
Actually, I rarely go to concerts. Rarely. But yours is one that I would definitely go to if I could. But so I'll just give you my short, lame excuse. I have to wake up like at 3 o'clock in the morning every day. So things that run, you know, if I have to get up at 3 o'clock, then I usually try to go to bed by 7 or so, because I'm not really a deep sleeper. So that kills me basically for a lot of shows. And I really regret it. I really regretted not going to your show in 2019, because I saw you guys had a great crowd and everybody loved you, right?
Yeah, we had a good reception. We played one gig beforehand at UFO Club, which was fantastic. And then we had a set at the Back from the Grave Festival, which for me personally, I was just happy to be there as a punter. Playing was a massive bonus. But you know, being so isolated here in WA, we don't get to see a lot of bands that a lot of people take for granted in other parts of the world. So for me personally, to see the Mummies once again, that's about the third time I've only been able to see them over the years, and then meet up with guys from the Neat Beats and those sort of bands, that was just fantastic. So being part of that was to me, I think most of the guys was way better than just that little set that we managed to do as well. But the crowd appreciated it, and I think we went down pretty well with everybody there.
Yeah, almost everybody who went or played at that show, like the Neat Beats. I know that I made a movie about them.
Yeah.
In 2018, I think it was, or 17. I don't remember. But yeah, everybody was asking me, why weren't you there? Why weren't you there? And it's like, I just can't. I can't go. Plus, it's kind of far away from where I live. Yeah. But Jamie, you say you wear the mask, and then after the show, you can go out and sit in the audience and stuff. But isn't that a bit of a difficult position to be for picking up girls?
Well, I do have my own Dr. Zero. So. Oh,
you do?
Yeah, I have my own Dr. Zero.
Oh.
So, but yeah, I don't need to pick up girls.
Oh, okay. So
put him on the spot, Mark.
I get it. All right, yeah. Mine's sitting over there. Anyway, do you guys know the rock band Reen Reen from Australia?
No.
She's more of a heavy metal type of thing, but she's been playing a lot of festivals and stuff like that. I'm going to introduce you guys. I don't know if you guys can work together or play for her shows, but I bet she would love you guys.
Does she play any monkey songs?
Nah, she plays songs about like guns and hand grenades and blowing up stuff like that. You know, it's a kind of heavy metal thing. Not exactly
that stuff in Planet of the Apes. So
not exactly heavy metal, but kind of close to heavy metal. So okay, so I got how your band got started, and then how about when you guys were kids? When did you start playing an instrument, or how did that happen? So, Adrian, tell me, when you were a kid.
So you know, I always grew up as a fan of the 60s. You know, I had an older brother that had lots of, you know, Beatles and Stones records. The usual thing. When I was a teenager, then I got right into 60s punk and listening to Back from the Grave and garage punk and all those sort of things. But it really wasn't until I was in my late teens and very early 20s before I actually even started playing the drums. So it was around the age of 20, 21 before I even picked up some sticks. So it's a bit of a late
really?
start.
So you didn't have a fight with your parents? They're like, no, he's playing the devil's music, and none of that happened?
No, I mean, my folks, you know, were bodgies and widgies, used to call them here in WA in the 50s. So, you know, my old man rode a motorcycle, and they were right into the rockabilly thing back in the day. And then by the 60s and 70s, you know, they themselves, they had a lot of, my folks growing up, they had a lot of Bert Camford and that sort of stuff. So Swingin' Safari, I've still got their copy of that. And that's songs off that I DJ when we're DJing at Hula Bula, for sure. So that's a sort of music that I grew up around the house. My mum really was into a lot of movies. So she worked at a drive-in in the late 60s, early 70s.
Wow.
So she would introduce a lot of movies, and as a kid, you know, watch this, see that, watch that. So, you know, a lot of those old movies, it was just normal around our household when they're on the TV, or whatever. You got to watch this movie because that's what they used to play at the drive-in when I worked there. So it was actually really cool.
Wow. So, okay, how about you, Jamie?
No, mine's nothing near as interesting as Adrian's. I grew up playing the classical piano, and then my mum allowed me to play rock piano, but I never wanted to sort of be in a band or anything. And I stumbled into a friend's place in my early 20s when they were playing Dirty Water by the Standells. And I just started singing along, and they said, "Oh, you've actually not got a bad voice.
Oh,
Do you want to form a band?" So that was where I began my foray into bands, and been continuing to sing in them ever since. And I only ever play the keyboards if I ever have to. I played the keyboards solely in one band with Adrian called the Cheetah Five, which had a very enigmatic lead singer.
the Cheetah Five. Okay.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
I'd encourage you. Yeah, if you want to watch something interesting, Mike, I've put a couple of clips of the Cheetah Five. I think from about 2002, that was a gig we played. That's a lot of fun. So have a look do a search on YouTube for that band. No releases out of that band. We're primarily a cover band, playing the usual garage punk covers and a few obscurities. But there is a couple of clips from a famous show we did here in Perth.
Okay, I'm gonna definitely check that out as soon as we're done.
Yeah.
So Jamie, so you started off playing classical piano, proper music, and then you told your mom you wanted to play rock music. Wasn't she like? No,
she was fine. As long as I kept learning an instrument, that was fine. But then when I got into playing in a band, that very much disheartened them. So
why?
They thought it was, my parents were very conservative and thought it was, if you're a musician, you're a drug-taking loser. So.
Oh, yeah. So drug-taking loser.
But
That's
they
a good name for a band.
They came to see me play a couple of times, and my dad ended up loving some of the records that I ended up recording. So they changed their minds. Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Which was lovely.
So when you came up with the idea of King Cornelius and the Silverbacks, did before you had any shows or anything, did you tell your dad, Dad, I got a great idea. I'm going to wear this ape mask on my head and jump around, and these guys are going to play it. Did that happen?
I think they both shook their heads and just didn't understand. And they thought, I think we've lost the son that we know. So.
Do you have any brothers or sisters, Jamie?
Yeah, and they come along. They come along to see us, and my little nephews and nieces come along as well.
They must love it.
Well, with the mask on, I'm very good at scaring children, or the children love it. But we went for a whole walk through Madrid with the mask on, taking photos, and little kids just ran up, just going, El Mono, and wanting to take pictures. It was just lovely.
That's great. So Jamie, when you were a little kid then, what was the first rock and roll record you bought with your own money?
I think it was January by Pilot, so which I still have the single of.
Wow. I think that's a really not a cool record, is it?
No,
that's not. I didn't know how to say that.
No, something I would have loved to have said something really cool, but
no. But everybody gets embarrassed when I ask this question. Nobody has ever said something cool.
But I did have what was the first Status Quo album? Was it Down the Dustpipe? I think that's an awesome album, and that was probably the first album I had.
Wow. And how about you, Adrian? What record was your first record? So come on, you got to tell the truth. Don't make it sound.
Oh, no. Oh, no, I'm not going to fake. I used to buy, or was given for Christmas, particularly because I said, my folks had a record collection of lots of sort of, Bert Camford things there. And my brother had lots of Beatles, Stones, and he was into things like Uriah Heep and also Queen and that. So I didn't have to buy a lot then, but when I was sort of in my early teenagers years, then I was buying sort of the compilations that would come out of popular songs of the day. And I think the first one I bought was would have been something like 1982 Out of the Blue, or one of those early ones. Every year there'd be a compilation come out, and they were the sort of things I would buy myself as a youngster.
I used to buy lots of compilations a long time
Mm.
ago because it was just, I just thought, I just want to hear new music. And I'm sure you guys are the same way. I'm so sick of hearing love songs on the radio. Okay, so we got your first record out of the way. How about your first concert then, Adrian? What was your first concert you went to? You paid your own money.
Paid my own money.
Yeah.
So that would have been something like going to see the Hootie Gurus.
Oh,
Or might
that's
have
cool.
been- yeah, that would have been mid 80s.
Mhm.
Not quite. I mean, I wasn't back in the 80s here. It was relatively easy to get into venues underage, but even when I was underage, I looked way younger than I could ever possibly get into a venue. So it wasn't till I really got to sort of 17, 18 before I could actually go out
Mhm.
and see live music and get in easily.
Are there lots of places in Perth to see live music?
Unfortunately, not as many as they were. I mean, again, back in the I mean, Perth's always been, like a lot of places, cover band city, and now it's tribute band city. Back in those days, yes, there were lots of places to play, but nowadays it's sort of quite small.
Is that a lot
and
because of
play.
COVID?
No, I think that's just how things have progressed over
Oh.
the years. Again, back in the late 80s, going out to see a band, that was a normal thing. And, when I was in my 20s, it was, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, every week we'd go see a band. That was the normal. But then, of course, electronic music came along, other distractions. So nowadays, not as many people will attend live shows necessarily. And again, unfortunately, here, it just seems to be a bit more of a resurgence again of tribute acts, and people will go and spend their money with the tribute acts rather than coming to see a local
By
band.
tribute act, you mean like there's a band that
Oh, yeah,
I
there's
don't
a
know
band playing. There's a band playing Pearl Jam covers, or there's a band playing, a Pixies album. We'll go and see the Pixies when they
Yeah,
come.
we can't go and see those bands. I don't
Exactly.
understand, and I'm not paying for it. I'm not giving people money to play other people's songs.
I mean, Perth is a conservative town. We're a big country town. And again, we're so isolated from the rest of the world. So I think these bands do well because the bands they're mimicking, aping, if you like, those bands will almost never come to Perth. It's very difficult for a touring act to travel this far.
Oh,
so a lot of people go second best.
If people go to Australia, they don't go to Perth. Where do they go?
Well, they do.
Oh.
But for example, from Tokyo or from Japan, Perth's closer than Sydney and Melbourne. But the majority of bands when they tour will do Melbourne and Sydney primarily because that's where most of the population is. We're a smaller city on the west coast. We're 1.5, 2 million. Where Melbourne and Sydney are double that size. So just population-wise, most of the people on the east coast of Australia. So when bands come over, they'll generally go there, and they may come to WA.
Which means we have to hop on an aeroplane to go and see them in Melbourne.
Exactly.
So
because they won't
hop
come
on an airplane. It's that far away.
4.5 hours, isn't it?
Yeah.
How many time zones do you guys have in Australia?
3.
Well, that's a big place.
Yeah.
We don't have we have one. It's pretty simple here in Japan to do that. So Jamie, tell me about your first concert.
Well, I grew up in a small country town, so my concert was one that actually came to town, and it was a band called Supernaut it was sort of like a glam rock band, but they had some awesome songs like I Like It Both Ways and She's Too Hot to Touch, which is still sort of classics, I think, today, in which you can find cover bands still playing. But they were pretty awesome at the time. And that was my first venture seeing a band at the Narrogin Town Hall. So quite an experience.
Wow, that's really cool. Ladies and gentlemen, from King Cornelius and the Silverbacks, the awesome Australian rock band that you can hear on the Mike Rogers Show constantly, Adrian McMillan and Jamie Perry. Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
If you like this video, go down here and click like and subscribe, and I'll see you back here tomorrow for part 2 with Adrian McMillan and Jamie Perry. See ya. Bye.